Okay. Good afternoon.
Good
Good afternoon,
afternoon,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes. Had your lunch?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What's special today, Alina?
Fried rice and chili chicken.
Fried rice and chili chicken. All right. We'll start with the next method of research, that is
Case study.
case study.
Today,
Next method is case study. Now, anytime and anywhere you hear this word from now on, remember always it will be dealing with some form of in-depth information.
I have a doubt.
Yes,
Can use in human development, clinical psychology.
I did not understand.
Is case study can use in human development, clinical psychology?
Yes,
Uh,
obviously it can be used. Yes. So basically, case study is an in-depth information about an individual. Okay, or about a particular case of our interest, whichever topic we are interested in, then we are dealing with that case, and that is one of the main advantage of case study over survey methods. In survey, within a short period of time, we can get information from a large amount of people, but case study, it's not the thing. We get in-depth information about a particular case. But in surveys, maybe we are just testing the attitude of people towards a social issue, or maybe opinion of the individuals or a group of individuals towards new product, maybe a new car or bike, maybe a cosmetic product, or maybe we are finding the depressive features in a group of people in a locality. For that, we can use survey methods. But that doesn't mean that we get in-depth information about them. We are just testing, or we are just trying to get information regarding a small topic of interest, which is the main focus of our study in survey method. But in case studies, we take particular cases and we study that in detail, in depth. Okay, that is a major difference between case study and survey methods. Now, so it is a method in which one person is studied in depth. Not necessary that it's one single individual itself. We can also take one particular case, like if we are interested in, in criminal psychology. We can take a case like investigatory case, and then we can study that in detail. So that is in depth. That might not be related to one individual alone. Okay. Here the emphasis is given on in-depth study of a particular case. So whenever you hear an in-depth study, that means it is related to
Critical,
case study.
is a critical information.
Critical information?
It's this.
Yes, the information that we get through case studies are very critical and very important too. This can be related to an individual with distinguishing characteristics. For example, a patient showing psychological disorders, or a small group of individuals having some commonality among them. For example, creative writers, institutions, poorly or successfully working school or corporate office, and specific events, example, children exposed to devastation by tsunami, war, etc. So case study might use multiple methods to collect data. In a case study also, we can use these questionnaires, we can use interviews, we can use experiments if needed, we can use observations if needed. Okay, so it's not necessary that we focus on a single individual. That's what I told you. If there is a company that was launched um, in the month of January, maybe January 1st, the company was launched. By the end of the month, the profit has gone too high. And it has become famous all over the world. The company and its products have become famous all over the world. So then that we can take as a case study in organizational psychology. And we can do a research on what were the factors that led to the success of this company. What all factors were maintained by the company owners, what all factors were taken care of by the employees, by the employers also, to make this venture a success. Okay, so that can be one case study. It can be related to institution, or we can take a group of people. Group of people, that doesn't mean we have to take some 100, 150, 200, 250 individuals. That we can do in survey method, but we can take maybe 3 or 4 individuals, small group of individuals, and we can do that as a case study. But make sure that they have something in common, a very unique feature that they have in common. Then only we can consider this as a case study. Okay, for example, the example given here is creative writers. You can take a few examples of creative writers, especially in the field of literature and all. They are interested in the way of writing, then how much emotions are imposed on these creative arts. All those factors can be studied using case studies. Then if you are taking a single individual also, that also becomes a case study. Like if there is an individual with very high IQ, or if there is a child of age, say 2.5 years, who can say or who can recite 100 poems or maybe 50 poems, or those who know the mathematics tables of up to 25 by heart. 2.5 years, you have to note it's 2.5 years. So they are special cases, right? So we can do in-depth study in such individuals. Okay. So
I
case,
noticed child who 1.5 boy who has more IQ. News I see.
yes, yes. In news we all have seen. Okay. So case study, remember, it is not necessary that it's about a single person or a single individual. It can be about a small group of individuals who have something in common. It can be about institutions and also specific events. It can be related to specific events like post-flood research, after the flood, we can do a research on the victims, the flood victims. We can take case studies and then conclude our results, or maybe any other natural disaster, or maybe during the corona pandemic itself. Those we can take individuals who have become COVID positive even after taking the vaccine, like that. Okay.
It's not sometimes correct info.
What is not correct?
COVID cases is not a correct sometimes.
COVID cases is not correct means?
Not they will not tell a full cases.
Like?
Some places have so much corona and they will tell only one district cases. Not all, some places are.
That is because some people who become COVID positive are not, they are not disclosing the fact that they have this virus in them, or they are affected by this problem. So again, in the whole result, there will be differences. That is the problem. Okay. Now, case studies provide a narrative or detailed descriptions of the events that take place in a person's life. That is why case studies are very much valuable, because it gives a detailed description, an in-depth description of the events that take place in the person's life. Freud's psychoanalytical theory and Piaget's cognitive development theory are all based on several case studies. This is just an example given in your textbook. We have Sigmund Freud, psychoanalytical theory. When we studied schools of psychology, I told you about psychoanalysis, right? And Sigmund Freud is the founder of psychoanalysis. And his theories were based on several case studies, based on his own patients. Okay. And there is someone called Jean Piaget. His cognitive theory is very famous, developmental theory. In developmental psychology, we learn about this. Piaget. There are 4 stages of cognitive development: sensory motor stage, premotor stage, concrete operational, post-operational, like that. It's too much. I'm not explaining that now. Just understand that Piaget's theory was also developed based on several case studies. Okay. They are just given to prove the fact that case studies are very much useful. That's it. Piaget, say, you don't say Piaget or Piaget, it's Piaget. Piaget, Piaget. Okay. Now, usually it is recommended that the information should be collected using multiple strategies from different sources of information by a number of investigators. Again, we'll take the example of the child with very high IQ. 2.5 years of age, but very high IQ. So that child or that kid will be able to do so many things that even we are not able to do at this particular age, isn't it? Because the kid has a very high IQ, intelligence quotient. So what is advisable is not only one investigator or one researcher, a group of individuals can do the research on this case. They can study the case of this child with high IQ in using different methods also. Some can observe the child, what the child is doing. Some can conduct experiments. Then we can also do this correlation study,
Ma'am,
taking each topic. Yes, Amal?
we can write a report about that child.
Yes, yes. After observing, obviously we'll write a report, right? Observation report. Then, which are the other methods that we learned? We can do a survey. No, not much, but maybe when we take the close relatives of the child as a sample, and maybe the relatives as well as neighbors or people who know the child very well, we can take a survey from them about the child. Yeah, so survey method can also be applied. Okay, so that is the last statement. Usually it is recommended that the information should be collected using multiple strategies or multiple methods from different sources. Different sources means it can be collected from the child itself, because we can do the test on the child. Some psychological tests can be done on the child with the permission of the parents, obviously. Then we can collect information from the parents or the guardians of the child, then grandparents or people who are members of the child's family, then individuals who are part of the child's personal space or the close circle, the neighbors who know the child very well, and so on. Okay, so they are different sources. Then, and also it should be collected by a number of investigators. And all these things ensure that we get rich data. Because most of the information will be very much vast, isn't it? We get information from parents, and we get information from the child itself, then from the grandparents or other family members, neighbors, and also it's a vast information. It's a set of vast information. That is why this is suggestible.
Ma'am,
Yes.
we will get a correct report about him. We will get
Like exact means that is why we are supposed to use so many methods, and we have to make sure that others also find it sensible. Like we can't just use observation method, go observe the child and just write a report and conclude. That would be biased and that would be wrong also. But if we are using experiment method, survey method, we are collecting so much of information from the parents, using interview methods maybe. Then we are doing psychological tests on this child. Then we are observing the child for a period of time. Then we can get accurate information. It is highly likely that we will get accurate information. We cannot say that it is picture perfect. We cannot say that it's 101% correct, but obviously in any research we are doing that, right? We are finding it in a way that it can be generalized to the population. But in case studies, we cannot generalize, obviously. Case studies means it's special cases, right? We cannot generalize that into you cannot generalize the result into the population or into the other sample, because one child with high IQ might be entirely different from another child with high IQ. That is discussed as one disadvantage of case study, which means it has less generalizability. We'll see the disadvantages and advantages after this. Did you understand the concept of case study? Yes? Meryl? You look a bit doubtful. No? All good? Okay. So then we'll see.
Quite challenging, you know.
Challenging, yes. I would say all the methods are actually challenging, because we would be expecting a result, but it's not necessary that the same result arise after the study. Okay, case study is also challenging. Yes, in a sense it is challenging, but if we use the correct methods, if we put in our efforts, that can also be fruitful. Okay. Now, advantages and disadvantages, as you can take down, I think. Yeah. It provides an in-depth information about members' viewpoint. Then unexpected discoveries can be incorporated into research. Can study social behavior, not always feasible with other forms of study. If some methods do not give us much information about a particular individual or a particular small group of people, then we can use this method, case study method, to analyze the situation or the individual. That is one advantage. Then disadvantages, difficult to generalize findings from one group to another group. That is the major disadvantage. Whenever you speak about case study with any other method, one major problem of case study is you cannot generalize it into the population. Okay. Then presence of researcher can influence results. That is another problem. Like if we are observing the child, suppose we are observing the child in the example which we spoke about just now, that child would notice us. And in the presence of a stranger, the child would behave in a different way, isn't it? Yes, than how usually the child behaves in the presence of the parents or the close family members. So the presence of the researcher itself can influence the results. That is another problem. Then next problem is, next disadvantage is that it's hard to duplicate. Psychological test we can do again, experiment we can do again, survey we can do again, we can duplicate the results. Duplicate means we can repeat and find out the results again, but case studies are very difficult. Very difficult means it's really hard to duplicate. Then
Researcher can score,
researcher can
compare a score with other.
Researcher can compare a score with the other, but again I told you, right, it's not about the score. We are getting in-depth information about one case. So it's not about one final score that we are aware about or conscious about. We are not focusing on one final intelligence score. We are finding so much of information about this child who has a high IQ score. So it's, our focus is not only on the IQ score. Okay. So comparison, yes, it's possible, but there is no need of that comparison here. We are just taking the case of one particular individual, or maybe one small sample of individuals. And another disadvantage is it takes a lot of time. It is very much time consuming. That is another disadvantage of this method. For example, Albert Einstein, a rare individual, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. So, why is his brain preserved? Why do you think it is preserved?
Ma'am, because scientists wanted to find out why he could use all 100% of his brain.
Yeah. So that's a different case, right? When we study or when we do a psychological research on him, if he was alive, then that is a case study. Obviously, we can do a case study, but can we generalize that results to the general population? No,
No.
because it is a rare thing. It is specific to that case. Although we are getting in-depth information about that person or that individual, we cannot generalize. We cannot say that all individuals with similar IQ scores are like this. Understood? Because it is specific to that person. Each individual in this world is unique in nature. So we cannot generalize the results of case study to the population. It is not much generalizable. It has very much less reliability. That is another disadvantage. Okay. So that is about case study method. It's very much simple to study actually. Not much information is there. In-depth information is collected. It's not necessary that it's from a person itself. It can be from a small sample of individuals or a small group of individuals. It can be about institutions. It can be about special events or special what situations. Like, yeah.
This method that we should carefully
Huh?
carefully to do
Carefully?
that method, to do that method.
Which one? Case study. Yes, we have to. Okay, and what else did I say? Yes, special events. It can be about special events like natural disasters, like flood, earthquake, tsunamis, and so on. Then what else? Then we studied advantages and disadvantages. Then we get detailed descriptions from case studies. Then major thing to notice, there is no much generalizability for case studies. The results of case studies should not be generalized to the general population. Okay. So with that, we have completed all the methods of research or methods of inquiry in psychology. Starting from observation method. Second one was, I think, experimental, right? Experiment method. Then came correlation method. After that, psychological test, interview, right? Survey, and that interview. Then this psychological testing, case studies. Okay, I hope that topic is clear. Next is, so till now we were in the methodology part. Remember the steps in doing a research? 4 steps. In the beginning, we studied 4 steps, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What were the 4 steps?
Collecting data, draw conclusion.
Directly you go collect data and draw conclusion.
Conceptualizing a problem.
Conceptualizing a problem, collecting data.
Draw conclusion.
Mm.
Receiving research conclusion.
Revising research conclusion. Okay. So, in which step do we set the methodology part? Which method is to be done? Who are the participants of the study? Which is that stage?
Collecting data.
Collecting data. That's where we set the blueprint. Remember? We set the blueprint of the study in the second step, that is collection of data. So that is over with all the methods. That is the stage where we set which method is to be done. Is it experimental? Is it correlational? Is it interview? Is it survey? Is it the question using the questionnaires? All those things are set in collection data, that step. So now we have got the data after doing the method. Now next thing is to analyze that. Excuse me. Next thing is to analyze the data that we have got. Okay. There are two methods. I think I told you before. One is qualitative analysis. One is quantitative analysis.
From
In certain research, we use only quantitative analysis. In some research, we use only qualitative analysis. But in some research, we use a combination of qualitative as well as quantitative analysis. And as the name suggests, quantitative means we have a quantity. We have a numerical value associated with it. But in qualitative, it is the quality of the responses of the client or the participant of the study. Quality means, yes.
complexity and elix information.
Huh?
What is complexity?
Complicity. What is complicity? I don't know. From where did you get that term?
The textbook
Textbook where?
method.
Huh? I did not see such a word. Complicity.
COMPLEXITY.
Complexity. Complexity means how much complex that is. Like, is it simple or is it very difficult? If it is very difficult, we call it complex. The range of the degree of difficulty, that is called complexity. Okay. Understood, Amal? Yes. If the exam, if you are having board exam and if it is very difficult, you cannot even understand the question, then that means the exam is very complex. It's not simple. Understood?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we were talking about quantitative and qualitative analysis. Again, show the slide. Yes. Analysis of data, quantitative and qualitative methods. First one is quantitative method. So obviously it suggests some quantity in it, isn't it? It is a systematic approach to investigations during which numerical data, this is the highlight, numerical data is collected and or the researcher transforms what is collected or observed into numerical data. Okay. So again, coming back to our IQ score, that is a numerical data, isn't it? Like when we spoke about Abhiram's IQ, 150. It's not his real IQ, but still. 150 is a numerical value, isn't it? So we can do quantitative analysis on this data. Also, there are different methods. See, on one part of the explanation is it can be numerical data, or what is given, the researcher transforms whatever is collected or observed into numerical data. Either we receive the data in numerical form, or we can also convert the data that we have received into the numerical form. So obviously, the final analysis will be done only with this numerical data. I'll give you an example.
Ma'am,
Ask any doubt, Amal?
At the end, these researchers will calculate all the numerical data. No?
At the end, yes, obviously. After collecting data, we'll calculate the all the numerical data. Now, can you ask me a 5 yes or no questions? Yes or no? Ah, yeah, yes or no. Not yes or no, true or false questions. Questions which I can't answer, I will pass. Please switch on the videos. Ask.
Today is a Friday. Is it true or false?
True.
Okay.
You studied at Kodamangal is true or false?
True.
It's rainy. It's today's a rainy day.
Not true.
And now it's 3, right?
Girls. Don't ask me, are you married? Do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a kid? Do you have a dad and mom?
Do you finish MPhil?
False. Girls.
Do you know to drive the vehicle?
Pass. One more. One more.
Do you have a friend at UK?
UK. Yes. True. What kind of question was that? Was it random?
You are taking science or
Oh,
psychology class?
I'm taking psychology, but that's not true or false. Emmeline, was that a random question?
Take science class in little small class.
Not now, not now. I don't take anymore. Emmeline, was that a random question?
Ma'am just simply asked. You
Okay.
were forcing us to ask a question, right? So I just simply asked.
No, I'm asking, was that a random question or do you have any clue of my friend?
You have said once in our class that you have a friend at UK.
Yeah, I think about when we spoke about music therapy, right? Yes. He's studying in Cambridge University.
Ma'am, do you have
the
friend in the
music
school
therapy.
campus?
Yes, I do. Okay, fine. So we'll take those 5 questions and I answered true, 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 false and true, right? Yes? Okay. So how can we convert this into numerical forms? Like
4 truths and
computer
1
coding.
false.
Yes, Kevin?
Ma'am, 4 truths and 1 false.
4 truths? Okay, like this.
Counting, you know.
40 and 1F.
This
Like
is
this.
by counting, you know.
No, actually in our research method, what we do is we'll set like this. We'll set like some key or code. Key or code will be set for each response. If it is true or false questions, maybe we can set as 1 and 0. Okay. So here it is 1. We can score like this. This is a scoring key. We'll score it like this. T 1, T again 1, T means 1, F means 0, T means 1. So total, how much? How much? How much?
4.
4. Okay. So if I would have answered this one as all true means I'll get 5.
Yes.
If all false means I'll get 0.
0.
As the total score. Okay, that is how we convert the data into numerical forms. Then we can do the quantitative analysis on the final score. Okay, understood? In quantitative analysis, that's what we do. So only in quantitative analysis, we can use statistical measures like mean, median, average, all those things. Okay, only if we are having some numerical values can we apply mathematics, isn't it? Yes. Then one more thing is there, that is qualitative. Qualitative method, it is the range of processes and procedures whereby we move from the qualitative data that have been collected. Qualitative means non-numerical data into some form of explanation, understanding or interpretation of the people and situations we are investigating. That is like descriptive answers. Descriptive answers we can give, we cannot give a numerical value for descriptive answers. Like if we are studying anxiety of a person, what we do is we can find patterns of behaviors and patterns of feelings and emotions from their responses. But we cannot assign a value, a numerical value for their responses. That is one difference between qualitative and quantitative. In qualitative, we deal with non-numerical data. Okay. I think it's time, right? Is the class still 240 or 250?
250.
250.
250, okay. So there are two main methods described in our syllabus, narrative analysis and content analysis. There are different methods for qualitative analysis. It's not very easy to do that also. In previous methods, I told you, if we find certain numerical values, we can easily put that into computer software and then get the results. The correlation and all can be done very easily with computer software. We have something called SPSS software to do that, to do the statistical analysis. But that is applicable only with quantitative analysis. When we have numerical value, we can type in the Excel, we can put this Excel file into the SPSS, we can load it into that, upload into the SPSS software, and then get the results very easily. But qualitative is very much different from that. Two methods are here.
Ma'am.
We can, yes.
Narrative analysis, sharing the experience to the people.
It's like a story narration. Like narrative analysis means analysis of the narration. Okay, we'll see that. See, this method is used to analyze content from various sources such as interviews of respondents, observations from the field, or surveys. It focuses on using the stories and experiences shared by people to answer the research questions. So people might, suppose if we are studying the food habits of tribal people. Okay, food habits of tribal people. Then
Food habits of tribal people is different from us, you know.
Yes, it is different from us. So we are interested to study how it is different from our own food habits. Okay. Now, if we are just using a questionnaire to know the food habits, will it be applicable?
Ma'am.
It's better to ask them, no, face to face. How are the food habits? What are the items? What are the ingredients that they use to cook? And from where do they get these sources? Do they?
Them are illiterate tribals. Are
Yeah, some of them might be illiterate also. Yes, so we have to explain it to them, explain what we are studying about, so that they can explain it in their own words or their own terms, their own experiences. They are giving narrations. They are giving us stories about these things, isn't it? Some of them might tell about their ancestors. Some cooking methods they might have learned it from their own ancestors, maybe their grandparents. Okay, and as a hereditary factor, this might have, as a cultural or tradition, they might have been cooking the same thing all along. Okay, so all those are in narrative form, in narrated form, as stories, as descriptions, then sharing of their experiences in different forms, right? So when we analyze such reports, if in a field study also we prepare an observation report, isn't it? That is also very much descriptive in nature. I saw this, I saw that, I observed that behavior, I observed this behavior, I noted that this behavior is matching the observation theory, or this behavior is matching the learning principle. I'll give a long description of whatever I have observed. That is an observation report. Again, that cannot be converted into numerical data, right? We cannot convert each sentence or each word into 0, 1 or some codes like that. It's very difficult. It cannot be done actually. So that is also coming under the narrative analysis, the observational report from field experiments or surveys also. Now, content analysis, it is used to analyze documented information. This is analysis of the narratives. Narratives are stories, okay? Then narrative stories or experiences from individuals. But this one, it is the analysis of documented information in the form of text, media, or even physical items. For example, book review. Book review is a kind of content analysis. There are different, if you search in Google, you can see different content analysis done on certain films, certain books, then maybe holy scriptures, maybe a group of holy scriptures from different religions are taken, and then a content analysis is done on them. That can be done as a research. Okay, how much similarity is there in each? Yes, what? Yes, Amal?
But we see here physical items.
Huh?
Physical items.
Physical items. Physical item means book is a physical item, right?
Yes.
Yes, an item. Is not a stationary item as such, but still. Even we can do content analysis on old movies, like movies during the 1990s. We can take that as a sample. So it's not necessary that individuals alone are a sample of study. Or we can take characters of movies. Then we can do a content analysis. Okay. Then we can take the plot of each movie, maybe psychological thrillers. We can take a few psychological thrillers, we can take the plot of that movie, and we can do a content analysis on that. That's also possible. So the difference between narrative analysis and content analysis is that content analysis, we analyze the data in the form of documented information. The data will always be in the form of documented information, but here it will be in the form of narrations, stories of experiences, and such things. Okay, that's a basic difference. I think that's it. Okay. So we saw two types of analysis. One is quantitative, which is related to numerical data. One is qualitative, which can be related to non-numerical data. So the data that we receive, that can be always in different forms. In the section nature of data, we saw that. It can be true or false, it can be 5 scale, like strongly agree, all those things. Then it can be ratings, 0, 1, 2, 3. On a scale of 0 to 10, you have to rate something. Or it can be, again, narrations or stories or experience, sharing of experiences. It can be in descriptive form. To what type of questions do we get descriptive answers?
Open-ended.
Open-ended questions. Okay. All right. Even interviews also. Some might be open-ended questions. So we get quality of information. I'll give you an example. If our topic of interest is happiness, so in quantitative method, we can give them a questionnaire which denotes how much happy they are. Or maybe we can ask them to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 how much happy they are. Maybe we can give them 5 situations, like when they are at school, when they are at home, when they are in a party, when they are on a beach, when they are on a hilltop. 5 situations, and we can ask them to rate on a scale of 0 to 10 how much happy you are in these situations. And maybe the last question is generally how much are you happy now in your life. Okay, that is quantitative because we are getting quantity of information, isn't it? Or either even if we don't get it in the sense of numbers or numerical data, we convert it into some form of number. If it is yes or no questions, if it is true or false questions, and so on. Now, another situation in qualitative analysis, what do? We don't have this numerical data. Instead, we take the non-numerical data. How can it be? Regarding happiness, what can you ask a person? Just one question is enough. How can you describe about your happiness in life currently? Or how much happy do you think you are now? Can you explain the happy moments in your life? So if you ask these questions, you'll get different types of information, right? Maybe it might be from the past. It might be some hope that they have for the future. Maybe in 5 or 6 days, they are flying to Dubai. That might be making them happy. Maybe they have received a surprise gift from somebody on that day. So that is making them happy in the present moment. Yes, so we can have a vast amount of information and we can get the quality of information from that, isn't it? So from this we can also learn what makes this person happy. Yeah, is it some material satisfaction? Is it some spiritual satisfaction? We can learn different things from that, isn't it? Yes. Now suppose if the person is telling that gifts are making the person happy, money is making the person happy, then when the person won a lottery, that had made the person happy, and maybe when he bought a new car, that is making a person happy. So there is a pattern, right? All these fall into the materialistic position of a person. Okay, so we can find a pattern as materialism. That is one quality that we have got. Similarly, from the responses, we derive the patterns and we categorize things into categories like materialism or other things. That is how we do qualitative analysis. It's very difficult to explain all the aspects of qualitative method because it's too much complicated. I mean, in my opinion, it's very much complicated. Okay, so you just have to know that it's related to non-numerical data and we get quality of information from it. It's not related to the numbers. That's all. Okay, so we have finished that also. Now limitations of psychological inquiry is pending and ethical issues are pending. We will complete in the next class most probably. So those who have got the seminar topics, please prepare. After the chapter.
Ma'am, can I tell my seminar topic once more?
Your seminar topic, you don't remember? Oh, can you give me a message? I'll send you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay then. Thank you. Bye.